You go to Australia, the Australians believe in liberalism. That's the foundation of the Constitution, individual capacity building. You go to the University of Sydney, that's the first place where I learned political economy. They used to be known as the Southern Hemisphere, Cambridge of the Southern Hemisphere. If you want to do your master's there, it's a very exciting place. One of the better universities in the world, cheaper also. University of Sydney. That's where I learned my concept for the state, how the state control people. And these people who study this look at the state as the levels of control, how they control the labor market, the banking system, the business system, land, military, all these things. And this collective action itself hinders liberalism. So you see the universities always protesting against the government because the university is an institution of liberalism in Australia, not collective action. Our university is an institution of collective action. They produce students for the industry. They don't ask you to discover yourself. Okay? So there's a big difference there. And the Australians believe that by doing that, you discover yourself, you have greater equality. So they have a problem now because, like in America, a lot of the university candidates are all overseas students. So you can see people who are liberals, right? They reject the government liberalizing the education sector. But people call them the xenophobes, okay, or nationalists. So by the same token, I hope when you write anything on United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, do criticize it from a liberal's perspective, not a Marxist. You as a liberal criticize the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal because that in itself, it's still trying to promote just better indicators, better equality. But it doesn't mean that the women who are more educated are able to discover their own skill. They can be more educated. It doesn't mean they discover themselves more than before. You are more educated than your parents, but it doesn't mean you discover yourself better than your parents. It doesn't mean that way. The real thing of skill development is how you discover yourself. Okay? But the problem is, a lot of people, when they look at the Human Development Index here, is to look at the attributes that can beef up the human in a humanistic way. Okay? So what is it that they look at? Maybe we should just have more equal distribution of wealth and invest in social services. But it doesn't mean, even if the government, okay, give you better social services, invest in education, okay, and make sure all of you have a house, but you struggle to pay for it. It doesn't mean you can discover yourself. Okay, you ask yourself this question, or you look at all those, you go and read the biographies of all these people who are successful. There's no habit. They can just say, yeah, these 7 habits and all this, but the real thing is, if you ask me, when I read them closely, it's about discovery, the self-discovery. And that is the one that always contribute to the academic community or to the market or whatever not. Okay? So who is the most, for you, who in your mind, right? Who done so well that is like, wow, when I look at this person, right, this is the best. Who? Famous. Who? You have to take some time to think. I can tell you immediately, I think of one person. Whenever this person dance, right, whenever I'm reading a book or whatever, I will stop. Wow, this guy, man. Michael Jackson for me, man. Can anyone dance like Michael Jackson? No, seriously. Only he can do it, right? He died at 50, he lived his life fully, right? He take all kinds of drugs to make himself so flexible, but still he died. Got all the machines and apparatus to make sure that he can continue breathing all the time, but still he died. But he lived all his whole life to discover one thing: how to dance in such a way, in such a way that nobody can follow. But if you ask me, right, the way he danced, right, and you watch Bollywood movie, those people in India, they dance quite similar. But the way he take it, the approach, is totally different because of his way of looking at dancing. Okay, so this is something that we do not, as I speak to you, you can tell me Michael Jackson, but would you dare to live your life like Michael Jackson? No. So how to have self-discovery? My sister always tell my nephews, don't live your life like your uncle. Yeah. Because why? She wants them to get married earlier to be grandmother. That is her interest. What kind of bullshit is that? It's about herself, But are you like crazy about being grandmother, grandfather? You're not a farmer, Only farmers behave like that, what? Farmers want to have grandchildren to take over the farm, then they can relax one corner, chillax. 50 years old, a grandfather. Some people 40 years old grandfather, 41 years old grandfather, 19 married, already. But the world has changed. So you're in a different world. So please don't, Chinese New Year come, the best question. So when you get married, nobody asks you, so how have you discovered yourself or not? You ever hear, have you heard anyone talk to you, hey, have you discovered yourself? Hey, you could discover what? How much money you make, Right or not? Okay? So it's not just the government giving you social services and all this. You don't worry about all those things. If you are a real liberal, go and search. Ask yourself. I give you another person, self-discovery. Have you heard of Janice Wong in Singapore? Type Janice Wong. Just type Janice Wong. Janice Wong. What does she do? I know this person personally. I seen this person from A levels until now. She's like in her 30s or something like that. Younger than me. I even taught the brother, This is the journey of a person who went through self-discovery. Anyone? What did she do? Pastry. You know what was her first degree? NUS Economics. Yeah. How did this person go and do pastry? So she said, wow, this bullshit, go work in a bank, investment link product, analyze what shit, the market is always like that one. To her, no feel, So what she did, she went to France there. She said, I think I just need to do this. Went to France there 1 year, anyhow, learn here, learn, kena whack, learn until like intern like that, stupid, everything, work under the chef, everything. Come back Singapore, discovered. Okay, let's take this approach. Now she cash out. Economics degree. Came in at the time to cash out, teach her how to all these things about. So you never take whatever you learn as a waste of time. But the most important thing is the self-discovery part. Okay? So when you discover yourself, a lot of people cannot knock you down. Seriously. Like Mike Tyson, the boxer. From a very like a hooligan, he give the fellow one knockdown. You want to knock him down only when he go to jail, come out, then you can knock him down. But when he's at his peak, nobody can knock you down. The other thing that you must understand, there's a time to let another person come and take over. A lot of people who believe in collective action, they do not know how to retire. They always think that, you know what, I'm still fit, because the collective action tells you the statutory retirement age is 62, 67. But if you discover yourself, you already achieve what you have achieved. What's next? Mentor people Go. You celebrate for another winner to come. Do you see Michael Jackson go and boo at another dancer? Boo, lousy lah, what? I'm better than you lah. Come on, challenge lah. Only people collective action talk like that. Because you got A, I also got A, but 90, I win you, 89 only you. That's how people in collective action talk. You like to compare 1, 2 grades, okay, about all these small things. Why? Because they think they are a better signal of a capable person. Better signal. But you are just yourself, you got a lot of people always they tell me like yeah. Because they think I'm living in my own world. Because I don't give a shit whether you're good or what lah. Good for you lah. Is that my problem? Not my problem, Okay? You go and challenge those people who wants to challenge. Don't challenge me. So that is something that a lot of people can't. They are always like, well, you say this, I must say like that lah. You do this, I also must do like that lah. I'm better than you, I beat you at your own game, okay? Oh, like that. Don't do that. Because the game is yours for you to take your own game, your own road. And when you achieve that, right, nobody can take it away from you. That is the kind of knowledge you want. It's called proprietary knowledge, self-generated. And when you have that knowledge, you want to impart and you collaborate with people. That kind of birds of feathers flock together. Okay, never mind. So like-minded people work together. Okay, that's how liberalism should be. All right, so that's how development should be. Not on a system or institutional basis of distribution based on numbers. So Singaporeans are millionaire, they say. Yeah, the money is on the wall. Most of it is your HDB flat. And the other one is the numbers on the CPF account. You can't touch it, you can't feel it. You can't enjoy it. What's the bloody point? Can you tell the government, give me 20,000, I want to go holiday? You know what? Sorry, it's against the law. All right? So you got to be very careful about this. It's more than just GDP. Don't worry about all these numbers. Singapore, wow, very high. Okay, don't know, 50,000 per capita. Sounds very good. But every day I see people struggling. Okay, asset rich, cash poor. That's the society we are in. People do not know how to be cash rich, asset poor. I give you this choice now. If you have a chance to have a simple house, HDB flat, 4-5-room flat, but every year you go holiday, your bank account got $1 million, as opposed to $1 million condominium. Every year, you have to think carefully before you go for holiday. And every day you worry you don't have a job. Which one will you choose? Which one will you choose? Most people will say, don't worry, I can do it one. Yeah. Why don't you spend your time not worrying about paying the mortgage? You should spend your time worrying about the next big thing you want to create yourself, so you don't have to worry about the mortgage. Then you should worry about the mortgage, you will never have time for all these things. Okay? So what I'm trying to say, a lot of people always get into debt. Once you get into debt, you're finished. Debt kills you. Debt removes your quality of life. And that's why when you go to those companies, they always like to ask you this question. Tell me about yourself. If you have a lot of children and wife, well, best. Because you have no choice but to enslave yourself. But if you're like those like Maverick like that, okay, I'm not married. Oh, this type very dangerous. Tomorrow can just quit. I cannot enslave him, You get what I mean? So you really want to be, you want to discover yourself, you must not allow yourself to be, get into the debt trap, Don't be like African countries get into debt trap, You look good on the outside. You drive nice car, You got credit card, But every day you go back worrying what's going to happen next. Okay, you got to be very careful about that. So it doesn't mean you got high GDP per capita means it's good. That 47,000 can go to assets rather than cash. Is it $47,000 cash per person? It is not. Don't be mistaken. Okay? They say, yeah, it's in CPF, but you still cannot take out. What's the point? Okay, so inequality, it will always be there. Why? Because the capitalists will always think of a way to drive growth. And to drive growth, the way to exploit and stay in power is to make it move rapidly. And that thing is called technological advancement. The moment the capitalists come out with a new technology, AI, blockchain, people will be out of job. That will systematically drive inequality. So what I'm trying to say to you, always stay ahead of the curve. Don't study what it is for today. You study for what it is today is a waste of time. If you have self-discovery, you are discovering yourself, you roughly know what you want. The subjects you take will always enable you. It's not for the market today. My thesis got nothing to do with the market at all, seriously. That is the kind of dreamer I am. Nothing to do with the market. The market never teach me anything about the thesis. Okay? It's what I find very exciting. Then I think I got to discover this. Because for me, the idea of a PhD must be novel and no one has done it before. Not take data on the average, like that, so these are the policies, like that. This is technocracy. I don't believe in it. Okay? So you really gotta accept inequality. It's always there because there will always be people. You don't have every teacher talk to the student like that. If every teacher talk to the student like that, right? The mother will go to the school and tell the teacher, hey, you better sack this teacher. Mad one of this teacher. Seriously. But if every teacher talk to the student like that, and the student really take the time to discover, you know how different the world will be. It's very different. Very different. Okay? So some people say about Westerners, the more liberal, they talk to the children like that. It's not whether Westerners or Easterners. This is all bullshit. It is how you approach life. Then you tell me Confucius, he also take his own sweet time also. Then how? Easterner or Westerner? Or Lao Tzu come out with all these Tao Te Ching or whatever you call. Last time got time frame. 16 years old take O-levels. 18 years old A-levels. 21 years old no university, stupid. 22 first class honors come out general. Then 23 out of war. But they don't like at this age like that. They don't have age one. That's why I say to you, you don't take education with numbers, no. A lot of people become crazy, I'm telling you, seriously. My NUS, the PhD, the fellow went crazy, seriously. You give him money, also no use. Well, I look at the screen until one day he started, oh my God. Hey, hello. You okay or not? No, actually, I'm very stressed. Then I talk to him, I tell you, you relax. Then I asked him to go and see the counselor. Yeah, he became mad. Okay? So, you see, the development that we go through collectivization is also happening in Brazil. Nearly half of all privately owned real estate owned by 1%. So Singapore, who is the main owner of land? Government. They screw you. So they say you must reach 35 years old, single, then can buy a house. What kind of stupid number is that? Why 30 cannot? 30 still immature. Is it? 30 immature, is it? 35 more mature. So 40 out of favor. So maybe 35 to 40 still can get married. Is it? What stupid nonsense is that? Okay? So you are subjected to institutions that are constantly telling you collective action. You must buy HDB flat. The purpose of it is to have family. So please buy, close the door, have sex, have 3 children. Then we give you bursary. Quickly make the hospital utilized with children, baby. Okay. That is all collective action. If you don't have enough baby, then next time you know what? 2 old person, 4 old person, only 1 kid, then how the CPF not enough? Every day think of the CPF. He said, no, every day CPF enough, put my GSC, CPF enough. So, but then they don't bother. You think he's thinking around, wow, that guy, look at the way he dribbled the ball. I think he can go very far in life. You think he talks like that? Hello, got CPF, go CPF, go and work. Okay? So, you got to be very careful about all these when you read all these development. Because real development, I'm talking to you today, I'm talking to you through the lens of a liberal. This is a liberal talking here today. Okay? So that's why they feel very unhappy. So at the institutional level, you look at nutrition, health, provision, infant mortality, educational standard. Educational standard means nothing nowadays, seriously. Infant mortality doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah, your hospital has improved, Doesn't mean the kid survive past 6 years old, he will have a good life. Doesn't mean anything. What you want is to make sure that a person is able to understand himself first. I tell you, honestly, you see a lot of those people who are, whether they are drug peddlers or any criminal, they are forced to do it. It's not that they want to do it. And because they do not know themselves and because they come from a broken family, that they're like that. Nobody born straight away, take out knife, I got X. Next time I go River Valley. Like that. You're forced to be in a situation like that. Nobody goes into that situation. You just put all the children at the kindergarten, just play only, right? They don't have any religion. They don't know what is God. They just play. You ask them to draw. Okay, now why you draw God? They see the sky. Okay, sky, bird, this and that. Once you tell them, no, God is, the cross. Then the man die like that. That one God. Okay, God. Then the other one, Buddha, Buddha. And the Botak fella, then God. Okay, then after that, he said, this one, Prophet Muhammad. Then this one, Vinayagar. This one, Shiva. This and that. Oh. That's how they become influenced. So the environment that they are in actually determines their consciousness, which is what Marx said. It's the same. So you got to make the environment better, not just because you got better low rates of infant mortality, but you got low rates of infant mortality, got a high increasing aging population. That's bloody bullshit then. Why don't you look at the other side? Why you never look at the other side? So development, the next thing you do, you must not have an aging population. That's the next thing that we should look at. If you have an aging population, that means there's something wrong with your policy. Not just, they got good nutrition to live longer. But then the replacement rate is something wrong. That is not sustainable at all. Okay? So sustainable development is not as easy as you think. Educational standards means nothing, seriously. All right? And then they say life expectancy, which I just said to you. So sad. So growth itself, the most fundamental thing, don't keep talking about growth to people, economic growth. Economists like to talk about, wow, our GDP, Singapore has rapidly grown. It means nothing to a lot of people. I say to you, how many people lost their businesses and jobs as Singapore grew rapidly? I say to you, like my grandfather is one good example. He used to be a tailor for the British Army. Then my uncles were tailors for MOE, all the uniforms. Once you change the outsourcing to reduce costs, to accelerate growth, all these people died. Last time, Peninsula Plaza, a lot of tailors. Now where the tailors? Close shop. Everything close shop. Then you read the newspaper, pandemic, global supply chain affected, lack of uniform. Whose fault? Not their fault. It's happening out there, not our choice. Blame it on globalization. Or to be more precise, blame on Donald Trump. All of them, we just follow SOP only. So if they say that to you, who is the one who suffered? You are the victim, not them, They are just bureaucrats, just change the things only. So remember this, do not follow what people say. You must know what's going on there. Okay, so you want to really increase the safety net is to focus on the individual. So maybe we should look at really sports as something for people to have an income from there. Sports, as in real sports. You see now Malaysia having some struggles about badminton, don't know whatever. As much as this is the time for them to pump in money for sports, they're going to take out money. And then people start quarreling about not enough money. Ridiculous. This is the time Malaysia, I read the news, I got shocked. They go and cut budget, but instead go and build train. You build train for what? The train carry people, but nobody take one. Everybody still driving car and traffic jam in Malaysia. Come on, use your brain a bit. But you know why they want to do train? Because their political supporters get contract, then you can get support. It's rubbish. Okay? So you got to look at individuals like that. In Malaysia, also a lot of sportsmen I can see for myself also. Okay, but of course they are better than us in terms of sports. No need to say it. Okay, so safety net, right? The skill of an individual is the most important thing here. So I wish a lot of teachers talk like me. A lot of lecturers at SIM, when they talk, the students, they don't study and all these things, so they don't want to study. Then I say, but that's our job to make them learn, not study, You know what study, Study is for people who something wrong here, Learn is for people who have something here, want to be inspired. That's called learning. Study is what? No, like a kid don't know anything. Yeah, mommy. How you say the first word? Mommy. That is called. You teach them to regurgitate the word. After a while, they know already. I'm not asking you to do that, no. I'm asking you what's going on in your head. You tell me, then come, let's discuss. So the real Confucius teaching is that my why not? Damn good, they're dancing. Got no YouTube to go and learn from Hollywood or whatever. My friend went to Cuba, he said, oh my God, those people are damn happy. No money, but damn happy. But of course, we don't want to go to that situation, no money and then happy, Have some money and very happy, very good, that one. Okay? So you see a lot of industrialized countries they say this is a developed country's problem. What is it called? Underemployment. That's the major problem we have. You know what's underemployment? You go out there, you're doing what diploma holders are supposed to do or O levels are supposed to do. That is underemployment. Okay? But what they should really do next time is that when people come to school, they must also be working halfway. Not just internship, 6 months, go there and then shake leg, then put in your CV. That's not the kind of internship you want. The best kind of university is that the person is, going through a work experience, and then the school is like just to reaffirm what they have seen in the working place. That's the best place. I tell you, my past 2 years, the strategy, the top 2 students, they all have working experience. When they do business strategy, right, everything is like them, like that. They're doing their work. Okay? So of course, this is a theoretical subject, and it's very different. But the other one is a very practical subject. You got to go into the marketplace and you see for yourself. Then when people talk, you know whether they're trying to snoop you or not. Don't watch YouTube. I can make you rich in 1 week. What kind of joke is that? So easy. You watch only Stairway Enlightenment. Yeah, take out your money. Yeah, right. Okay. So the poorest country, they don't even have the basic. They're stuck with poverty. So when you read my notes, most of the time I'm talking about comparing to Africa, people are living in poverty. But then again, if you look at it from a geopolitical point of view, Africa, very thankful to China. Why? Because of the BRI. Okay? They got them out of poverty. But what about the inequality in Africa? Still bad. Very bad in Africa. Okay? The bureaucrats make a lot of money because the Chinese government pump in money to their economy. Okay? So you see, Malaysia also, wow, they grow very rapidly. But the inequality is very bad. You've got race-based politics within their own race also they fight. Between race also they fight. Okay? The economy grow, but the distribution is very bad. They snatch each other's business, all this sort of thing. There's no self-discovery. So there's a problem here. When bureaucrats sit down, they don't think of all these things. They are waiting for the election to give their report card only. Okay? So you have to be very careful. So from a liberal perspective, alleviating poverty, it's, it's very important. It's a given. So the liberals can only function when you have come out of poverty, but you want to deal with inequality. So I hope when you're talking about sustainable development, okay, they are talking about inequality, that's when you as a liberal come in there and criticize. Again, I repeat myself. When you are talking about UN, the United Nations Sustainable Development, okay, you will only criticize it when you start bringing in the argument of inequality. Neoliberalism has not resolved inequality. In fact, neoliberalism has deepened inequality. So the United Nations Sustainable Development, for all the 17 goals they have, you have to assess them. Whether that really bring, by giving gender equality, really bring about equality. Really. I see women are still complaining that they don't get the kind of jobs that they're supposed to get. Because that system is such that they go by what? By who you know, what you know, and all this. Not real, individual skills or like that. Okay? So you really want that kind of equality, you gotta enable people. This is not what we are seeing. Alright? So you all should go and listen to Indrani Raja once she explained about GST. It's very important. We have no choice but to have GST. But we can help you to make it less painful by delaying. But at the end of it, she's listening to her boss. And that is a system that we have, bureaucratic. Is she talking about inequality? Is she telling us about inequality here? With the increase of GST, in your own assessment, will it reduce inequality or will it widen inequality? Think carefully. Okay? Because if you don't, right, then you will be like the usual self, just on the surface, and then every day you wonder, what the hell am I doing here? Okay? A lot of people reach 40, 50 years old, they're very disillusioned with life. I mean, all the money all gone. Why? I shouldn't have spent so much. It's not whether you spend so much or not. It's not about how much you spend and all these things here. It's whether you understand yourself or not. You understand yourself, you're very assured of yourself, you will not reach a situation. I didn't live my life. You will never reach a situation like that. When people start talking like that, then you will know that something is wrong with it. Okay. So the World Bank. The United Nations is telling the World Bank to piss off, to move away from a pure market-based solution towards a more inclusive approach. But I would say to you, it is not enough. All right? And of course, the World Bank is an absolute failure. Because the World Bank was promoting neoliberalism, and it resulted in financial crisis. Okay? And what is the thing that World Bank promoted and killed the whole bloody thing? Yeah. Next week we'll discuss about that. Go and think about it. What about the Washington Consensus have killed a lot of developing countries' progress? Think about that, okay? What is it about the Washington Consensus that have killed the development process of developing countries? All right. Any question? So now, if you are the state, you're part of the state, okay, there are two things that you need to look at. The internal causation theory, the external causation theory. What the hell are these two? The internal, it's the domestic level that we're looking at. Okay? So if you believe in compliance, then the internal causation should be collective action. Our development strategy, it's 100% dependent on MNCs. Once MNC doesn't come to Singapore, Singapore loses its charm. That's what the bureaucrats believe. And a lot of people in Singapore believe the same thing. Wow, you see nowadays the MNC all run away already. Singapore is dead. Okay? But the sad thing, a lot of developing countries are like that. Very sad. So when I went to Malaysia, they say, you see, you look at Singapore, got a lot of MNC, you see our country, all the MNCs run away. Then I say, what's wrong with that? MNC means got confidence in your country lah. They say, hey, you stupid or what? You know what's MNC for? Lah? Come and exploit your country lah. You understand? You look at your river, all the waste, the pollution, or who do? Orang asli ah? Huh? Or the people in the village do it ah? These are the MNCs that do it. The petrochemical companies. But what are these people talking about? They're talking about jobs. They're talking about them as subcontractors get business. They don't care whether pollution or not. You see? They're talking about their pocket. So I say, you know what? I talk to you so much, right? You know what you're talking about. No? You do this. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about the real thing. So at the domestic level, there's a lot, developing countries remain, the human capital remains underdeveloped. Because it's all about collective action to comply with what the MNCs want. We are all in that situation talking about globalization is great. Global city is fantastic. We should be like that. Okay, we should, you see, look, Singapore, beautiful, Hong Kong, beautiful, you see, very beautiful, New York, you see, wow, very vibrant, London, you see, very vibrant. Why would you like to be like them? Why can't you just be yourself? Why can't you just, like, I go to Jakarta, wow, they are just themselves. They don't give a shit. The horse still walk every day the same. You come, this is the cultural aspect of my country. Okay? But the capitalists will not want that to happen. The capitalists will influence the state to find a program to maximize profit. That's what it is all about. Okay? So at the domestic level, you can also, it depends. If you're less compliant, the domestic level means what? You want to create winners in your country. You will tend to develop your human capital. I repeat myself. If you are less compliant, then you will be more focused on developing human capital to compete in a market, world market. Okay? So it depends on what is the state. The 3 I's that you have to look at. The interest. Then comes the idea. So the idea is compliance or less compliance or non-compliance. Got it? The interest group. So if this single dominant party like Singapore, only bureaucrats and politicians are interested in is their interest. And the elite, the very rich business people, wealthy tycoon that they collaborate with. What is it that they want? They want to find programs to maximize their profit. Okay? But if it's like a diverse coalition government, you have diverse interest group. And you have diverse interest group, you have people representing the people who wants to discover themselves, human capital development, then you'll be less compliant to the world. So one country will be like Germany. Okay? Germany, less compliant. No, they like to engage the world. But they are very concerned about the human capital in Germany. What can be produced out of Germany that can challenge American product or British product or Chinese product or whatever? Okay? So both ways also export. Singapore also export. Germany also talk about export. All right? But what is it that they want? What is the interest? The interest structure you have to look at. So those people who are very wise, they look at Singapore, cannot. Don't bring up children here. Because they only produce bureaucrats here. Everything follow rules. There's nothing wrong with following rules. But there's no self-discovery for my kid, then how? My kid only Everything, like that only. You don't, like that you die, no, okay, die. Really, go and die. Yeah. Then they really go and die. So that external, right, the institutions and MNC. So Singapore comply with the WHO. The WHO said 2, the fellow said 2. WHO said 5, they said 5. WHO said close, they close. So scissors, paper, stone. Scissors, paper, stone. Yeah. Close the border. Now 2 can dine in. Now 5 can dine in. Omicron, close the border again. Again, everything they comply. But by right, when they first saw it coming, right, what should they do? They should just close the border first. But what were they doing? They are more interested in their interest first. The tourism sector cannot go down. The SIA cannot go down. SIA go down, Singapore goes down. Changi Airport goes down, Singapore die. But people die is because you are not vaccinated. It's because you are stupid. You don't want to follow rules. Okay, so everything is about MNCs. Every damn thing here is about the MNC. It's about the WTO. It's about CPTPP, all kinds of things about making money value. Okay, so the only way we can really look at it, the leader must have an integration approach. That means very inclusive. Okay, you cannot just totally comply with what the international organization and MNC wants, because it will lead to collective action and inequality at this point in time. Last time, yes. A lot of people don't have education, don't have proper housing, collective action, fantastic. Just go and get a degree, MNCs give you the job. That's it. Yes. But now you cannot have that anymore. Okay? There are some things you cannot just follow. What do you mean by green economy? It should be green economy all this while. Not only when the UN start to say that this climate change crisis, climate crisis. Okay, now, green economy, green economy, green economy. So all your live from there, green economy, plant more trees, plant more trees. Like minions like that, their campaign, green tree, green economy, green economy. Huh? Yeah lah. Still the largest oil yeah lah. The pollution very high. Just go walk around Jurong, you can see it. Everywhere industrial estate there. Okay, so I'm not saying that we unplug from the world economy, but we need to reevaluate as the shift in the geopolitics that we see. No longer re-exporting only. But then you know what they always say? But Singapore economy too small. Oh, yeah, Singapore economy too small. We can win one Olympic swimming, badminton champion, but still our economy is too small. Of course, it will always be too small. There's nothing wrong with that. Switzerland also very small, but they produce Rolex and all these things. And how? Then what you going to say? Oh, they got a longer history than us. They sure got something to say to you. Don't worry. So you don't go and bother what they say, because you talk to them, you vomit blood. You talk to the bureaucrats in Singapore. You talk halfway, your blood come out. Oh shit! These people cannot talk to them. Oh no, they breathe in air or breathe in toxic. I do not know. Okay, so there are 3 schools of thought. You can go and think about it. You can go and read it. I don't want to waste my time telling you all these. Okay, but this is not liberal. This is actually by right. I think it should be neoliberal. I change here. So whatever you see here, right? This should be neoliberal. Okay. So that was when they promoted free trade. Free trade is actually institutionalizing the trade, the world in a collective action there, to serve the interests of, at that point in time, you call them, what do you call them? East India Company, which are today, they transform into MNCs also. Okay, so the 3 schools, I think you should know them well. I'm not going to waste my time. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here, at IPE, you must discuss from the lens of, through the lens of state. What I've said to you, the state cannot unplug from the global economy, but the internal causation have to be more inclusive here. You cannot just comply with MNCs. Okay? So the day when you hear Singaporeans are very happy to be around, that means they are less compliant to the MNCs. Why? Because you have created space for winners to come out organically. I can guarantee you, when there are winners that come up organically, people start to celebrate. Doesn't matter how, but once you have winners, okay? You know, Singapore used to be a winner in what? Horticulture. We used to win awards in Holland, world-class orchids. You know that? Don't know. Why? It's not a sector anymore. But you see all these opposite SIM, same flora, all these people are major players, no. But this one cannot export, they say. Because it's X minus M. X must be greater than M. What kind of nonsense is that? Everything must be X greater than M. So if X cannot be greater than M, we militarize it, change the formula. Now X less than M, we change, militarize it, X minus greater than M. How do you do that? Think of ways, like export education. SIM will have more programs, so students from all over the world come to Singapore. Then how to attract them to stay in Singapore? After they graduate, give them 1 year work permit. Then they will study in Singapore, so we can export the services. That's how they do it. What kind of rubbish is that? What self-discovery? Zero. Don't forget, collective action. You must embrace diversity. We are liberals. That's how they look at it. But then, there's no equality. So the people come here after 1 year, okay, they get a year, a job, 2, 3 years. The next batch of SIM students, replace them. So new citizens also become old citizens. But the system continues to survive. But what is it that you get out of it? Exploitation. The hierarchy remains. Bureaucrats and servants. Bureaucrats, new citizens. Okay? So I want you to think about it. So the state cannot function like that anymore as the global production network change. Because the MNCs don't want to negotiate with the state that way. The MNCs only want to maximize the profit. The program now is install artificial intelligence and blockchain. We do not want to pay so much levy anymore. Instead, the state, the PAP state government has to finance them to come to Singapore to install artificial intelligence. Why? To modernize the system. You give them tax exemption to modernize the system, but you collect no levy from cheap workers. So what's the next thing? GST, utilities tax, petrol tax, property tax, wealth tax, corporate tax, all kinds of tax. Increase rent. Because the land owned by government, so the real estate investment trust increase rent, collect more money. Okay? It's all about the system. Where is the individual? Run away. If today the border open, right, you think people will run away with no job? Ask yourself this question. If no job, people will run away. Cost of living so high. My God, I will die, When they have the vaccinated travel lane, a lot of people better get out now. They're expensive. Take flight or chow already. Okay? If they have no job, they won't be here at all. Okay? So this is the way we should really look at state intervention. A lot of people say state is good. But state in what way? Intervene in what way? Enable the people or collective action. That one is for you to argue, At which stage of development is collective action good? Get out of poverty, collective action is very good. Okay? Once you have reached the middle, as a middle income country, it's no longer collective action anymore. You really got to go for human capital development index. Okay? I repeat myself, collective action is only good at the part when you are coming out of poverty. But once you reach the middle income country, we should adopt what the liberals are looking at as individual capacity building. Okay, then that focus of reducing inequality is very important. If you continue with collective action still, the inequality will get worse. A case in point, Singapore, Malaysia, both believe in collective action when they are in the middle income. Okay? Of course, the Malaysian one is Bumi Putra. Collective action among the elite only. The middle income Malays also suffer. They don't get any richer, they get worse. But the Chinese on the other side, oh, the Malays get everything. But actually, not all the Malays get everything. No. A lot of them, I look at them, they are really more, they like, hey. That's why there's this PKR, a new party, which is a departure from the elitist. Anwar Ibrahim can just keep quiet and don't do anything, what? He make a lot of money. But people say he's not giving a solution. Very strange, no? No, Anwar Ibrahim got no solution. You know who are these people? They are part of the elite. Yeah, I know them. They want revolution, but Anwar Ibrahim is not the solution. What kind of revolution is that? To me, Anwar Ibrahim is the solution, not Mahathir Mohamad. Everyone got it wrong. See what Mahathir did? After 2 years, I resign. I don't know lah. That is not the solution at all. Okay? So Malaysians, I think, they don't get it. They think that people's revolution and that, but you must understand those people, they form 3 parties now. They're passing to each other. Anwar Ibrahim is sidelined, you know already. The one with the idea of removing inequality. You tell me now he is not the solution. You tell me Bersatu is a solution, something is wrong with you. Because Bersatu is just a shadow, light shadow of the UMNO, the same people come out from there. Okay? You look at PKR, totally different from the other two. But people don't agree with them. Why? Because these two now, they are giving out money, contracts. Election comes, you know what to do. Huh? So I'm telling you now, next election, UMNO will put in their pocket again. Then they will continue collective action. Then what will happen? If I look at the trend, the Malaysian population, the Chinese population, aging population. Why is the Chinese aging population? Because everybody lives down there, come to Singapore, most of them, 54% to work in Singapore, left the old people down there, waiting to collect money. That's it. Will it get worse? UMNO, we one more time, worse. Okay, and then they come here, they get exploited by another one here, PAP. So same lah, Malaysians. Down there they kena whack, they come here also kena whack. Singaporean same. Come here kena tax, go there kena rock. So you see, who win in the end? The elite, UMNO and PAP. How did it happen? It goes back to the history. Tunku Abdul Rahman and Lee Kuan Yew, gentleman's agreement. Singapore belongs to the Chinese. Malaysia will take all the Malays. Because 50-50 start fighting, right? So you take your Chinese and you go. And this is a system that we have. So the state intervention is very clear-cut now. Very clear-cut. The only way for the peninsula to really thrive, you take out these two parties. Then you see the real Malaya, the real skill comes out. Okay? But it's very difficult. All right, so I think you need to make sure you take note of these two, what I want to say. This integration approach, when you explain that the new liberal world is over, and the new liberal world has actually not been inclusive. Okay? It has been exclusive to collective action. The people benefited from collective action. So the way you play the politics will be like that. You create greater happiness with the greatest number. Let me type this down. That is neoliberalism. What does it mean? All you need is to win in the election. 60% popular votes. Ours GRC makes it more exciting. Even if 50% go against them, still they will become they will have more than 2/3 of the parliamentary seats. Okay? So if you have, let's say we take a presidential election, 60% of the people vote for you. You just make the 60% of the people happy with all the programs. The next election, they continue to support you, then you stay in power. But what about the 40%? That's where the inequality will come in. That's what the bureaucratic system will do to ensure that the elite stay in power. So the state intervention is not inclusive, it is exclusive, I would say. Okay, so the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals should really evaluate this carefully. Not just, oh, more women are studying now, celebrate. Oh, lesser people, people are living longer, but then maybe they are struggling in their home. Like, oh shit, I got no water. Living longer, so what? Okay, more children have education. So, are they really having a better quality of life in that sense? Okay, or more jobs available. We have a National Jobs Council. So bloody what? We see 3 groups of safe distancing officer at every hawker center. One wear blue and black by Certis Cisco. Another one SG United, green, like white and green, don't know, whatever. Another one wear like luminous green one, walking around. Or another one wear red one, safe distancing ambassador. Oh, hello, wear your mask. That's the kind of job you want. Do you need to go to university? No need what? No need. Primary 1 also know already. You see the fella put the mask down, just tell him, okay, put your mask like that. No need to do anything. It's under development that we are facing now. Okay, so creating the greatest happiness with the greatest number. Greater happiness with the greatest number. So who in Singapore is having greater happiness? The policies and the programs are for what? The old people. The old people will bite their tongue to vote against the PAP. Why? Why do I say that? Because the property price keep going up there. How can they go and vote against the PAP? Every day, you vote against them. Then the property price drop how? They will say PAP will never let the property price go down. What they talk as if PAP Kuan Yu is next to Kuan Yin, We pray to Kuan Yu, Goddess of mercy's brother, God of no mercy, He will never let the price go down. Can you imagine? That's what they believe. Okay? That's to create greater happiness. They all touch your heart. Listen to your heart. S11. You want money or not? It's about money value. Collectivization. They know the old people are crazy about this. The young people crazy about what? Jobs. Ask Vivian Balakrishnan to say in such a way that, it sounds like maybe you got a chance. But if you don't have it, not my fault. Okay? Taman also sound very calm and cool. He was an IMF and all this, but still no job in the end. Then suddenly now, the Indians start to tell me, hey, see, this fella cannot. I don't think he can be prime minister. Last time, see, it's good to have a minority. I say it's not a minority or not. You must get the right person in parliament. It's not about Black Lives Matters. When it comes to inequality, all life matters. It's a self-discovery of every individual. When a guy is so capable, you cannot tell me that because he's Indian, he cannot be prime minister. He's so capable, you cannot reject, no. He's too good already, How to reject? Like Obama, the way he talk, oh my God, this guy sure can. Okay? When he's so good, you cannot reject. So you got to focus on the skill. A lot of people got it wrong. They're still stuck with that collective action. Now, GRC must have minority of this race and that race. That's not collective action at all. Okay? That is basically, race-based politics. You think carefully. Why must it be like that? I know people who are Malays, they are capable also. They may not have university degree, but at the grassroots, they can do very good work also. Why are they not members of parliament? Because they don't belong to Mendaki. So, why can't they be part of it? So you have to think carefully. Okay, so when they say, no, we are not into race politics, we are very caring towards the minority. Come on, think carefully. It's just a different way of what Mahathir is playing. Mahathir's playbook is different. Mahathir a bit more forceful. Bumi Putra, wow, he say until so explicit. But Singapore never say it. But look at the population statistics. 75%, how many? What? 70, what are these people? Chinese, right? Why is it always 73? When the Chinese cannot produce, the rest are producing more. Why Chinese only 70? Where you get the Chinese from? Pluck from the ground. Of course, you take from abroad. What? So your immigration policy, you can see very obvious is biased. Are you taking talented people? No. You got a political experiment that you project, that you objective you have to achieve. Okay? So you got to be very careful. You got to be very careful with collective action. A lot of people get drawn in. Get drawn in. Okay? So if you are liberal, right, you must be very aware of what's going on out there. I hope you do that. Okay. So integration approach, inclusive. Next week, we will start with this thing here. Developmental state model. Okay? Today I'll give you, it's 6:30. Oh, it's supposed to be 6:30, right? Yeah. 6:30, then we stop already. Next week, we'll talk about developmental state and how the collective action all started. And from there, we look at the development project, globalization project, the historical perspective of it. I'll see you next week. There are people who need to see me. Come and talk to me about your essay. For those of you who have not submitted your essay, please try to do so still if you can. Those of you who have submitted your essay, see my comments. If you don't understand, come and speak to me. See you.